Okay, so before I begin, I am having some massive technical difficulties. So that being said, I will do this to the best of my ability. But at the end of the day, I'm afraid it's probably going to result in a lower grade. So, as we begin, I'm going to discuss the Arsenoites Oracle. Um, Now, I had the PowerPoint set up and it should have been ready, but for some reason, Zoom is not allowing me to screen share. So I will read off everything as we go, and I will include every meticulous detail I possibly can. But unfortunately, it just is not allowing me to screen share for some reason. So, this papyrus, it is dated to April 26th of the 6th century CE. Um, and it is found in the Arsenoites region of Egypt. And this papyrus, for the most part, is intact, that there are definitely some portions that I would assume had to be reconstructed. The actual papyrus, well, it originally had been, a square like everything else, or rectangle, I guess, more accurately. The sides on both the left and the right are significantly eaten away by time. Um, Particularly the lower left quadrant, it seems. However, interestingly enough, it doesn't seem to have impacted the papyrus as far as the actual message on it. So the paper is very eaten away, but it all seems to be on the fringes of both the left and the right. Um, and in the center, however, for the most part, does seem to be a very intact statement. And that statement reads as follows. To the very great and mighty god Sognapius, from Asclepiades, son of Ariois, if it is not granted to me to marry Tapithæus, the daughter of Maris, and she may not become my wife, show it and confirm to me this writing. In the past, Tapithæus was the wife of Horion, year 35 of Caesar, one Pacon. So from this, we can deduce that this is we would relate to this in our modern day as a very elementary thing. Like this is something that in elementary school, all of us did. We said a prayer hoping to marry someone we met 7 days ago, right? And we don't know anything about the situation of Asclepiades or Tapithæus. But what we do know is that Tapithæus was previously married once before, so they were likely older. I can't really speak for, the commonality of how young or old someone was when they were married in ancient Rome, but I can say, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that this does seem like it is something that she would have at least been a little bit older. Um, Now we can't speak for Asclepiades pretty much at all as far as his age goes. But it is certainly interesting, the kind of universality of this experience of, like I said, when we were all kids, we all did it. I hope I marry this person and literally had just met them. Or they could have been, dating for a while. He does seem to know quite a bit about her previous life, so it's possible. But it's hard to narrow down for sure, given just what we have. Um, but another element of this that I did want to focus on is the deity itself that is being reached out to through the oracle. I did a little bit of digging, and Sognapius seems to be a regional variant of a deity. And so in the case of this deity, it does so it does seem like this is a bit of a lesser known deity than, say, Venus would have been. Um, it does seem to be a Hellenistic variant of the god Sobek. And while I'm not very familiar with Sobek, um, let's see. It seems that Sobek was a male deity represented with a crocodile head, associated with pharaonic power, fertility, and military prowess, but also served as a protective and apotropaic deity. Apotropaic would be a deity that like defends against evil. So Sobek likely would have had some element of being associated with the fertility deity, so that is probably where he was associated with from here. Now, it is interesting though because this was a document that was written in Greek, as were most of the papyri. So it seems to be a Hellenistic version of an existing deity, and I find that to be very interesting. Um, rather than referring to the deity as he would have been in Egypt itself, they seem to kind of refer to him as a sort of syncretic amalgamation between, Hellenistic concepts, like the oracle. I'm actually not 100% sure if ancient Egypt had oracles before. I mean, they had priests and that sort of thing, but I would have to look into whether they had actual, equivalents of oracles. Um, but that is definitely something that would be interesting to learn more about. Regardless, I found this to be a very interesting papyrus to look into, and I truly hope that anyone who watches this finds it to be the same. And I do apologize for not being able to screen share. I genuinely don't know what was going on, but it has taken me all day and most of yesterday, and nothing seems to be working. So, um, aside from having filmed this close to 25 to 30 times, nothing seems to have been working. So I do apologize, but I hope that I can score at least as close to a good grade as I can get. And I hope you have a wonderful day.